Alright, hell yeah. So what we're going to focus on is a safety talk under 10 minutes. I really want to emphasize what I want you to do as a passenger or a paddler on this trip. I'll introduce a topic, maybe do a why, but really get right to that, what I want you to do. And here, let's just go for it. And we're going to try to keep it simple. Simple as. Like, not a lot of fluff, not a lot of jokes. See if we can get that under 10. Alright, hell yeah. Alright, welcome. We're going to float the Alberton Gorge. It says float. So we're not high water. Cool. Length of trip, 10 miles. We'll be out there for 3 hours. Alright, I have to read this. Whitewater rafting has inherent risk. We cannot guarantee your safety during this trip. Rafting is an adventure. There is a possibility of injury or death. However, we have an outstanding safety record at Montana River Guides. Cool. Has everyone signed a risk acknowledgement form? Hell yeah. Alright, equipment check. Helmets. Make sure your helmet is snug against your forehead. Chin strap tight. And you have to adjust that. That's on you. Life jackets. We adjust your life jacket. Very important, this thing does not come off today. You have 4 buckles, make sure they're always buckled at all times. Don't bring anything you don't want to lose on the river. Check your glasses and dry bag items. Alright, how to sit in the boat. We actually sit all the way out on the outer tubes. We signed up for whitewater rafting. And you can hold yourself in the boat with your feet. You know, kind of wedge your toes in, wedge your heels in. You know, using your front leg and your back leg, that really locks you in. So we can paddle. Paddle commands today will be all forward. Now, everything we do today is pretty aggressive. You know what I mean? Hell yeah. So we lean forward as a group, and then we pull back as a group. So everyone has to be coordinated with that. And why we do that is it allows us to pull our paddle with our whole upper body. So, alright, hell yeah, let's just do it. All forward. Now, it doesn't have to be real fast. It just has to be strong, leaning forward, pulling back, and make sure everyone else can follow along. Hell yeah. Alright, so then we, the only 2 paddle strokes, we do forward and backward. It ain't that complicated, right? So, but the back paddle is different. What I like to teach is twist to the outside of the boat. So you're kind of leaning out, twisting, and then insert your paddle. The main aspect, take the shaft. What I want you to do is brace it against your thigh, typically. Sometimes the boat too, but then you're going to leverage. So you're going to untwist. So you're going to twist out, up against your thigh, and then leverage. So see how much leverage I can get, and then pull on this hand, right? So that's the backstroke. Hell yeah. You know what I mean? If you're on the left side of the boat, your guide's going to be like, hey, left side back paddle. That makes sense. You might say left side forward paddle. So you just have to know what side of the boat you're on. Doesn't get more complicated than that. Okay, if you fall in, you're considered a swimmer. Don't panic. Yep. Alright, so getting back in the boat, that's kind of our objective. Now, your guide's not going to pull in all the swimmers. That's on you. If you have a swimmer next to you, you have to pull them in. So that's cool. What you want to do, you really have to kind of like stash your paddle, maybe give it to your neighbor. You need to twist or get your body kind of facing outside, both legs, what I like to teach, both legs on the outside of the tube so you can lean into the water to grab that swimmer. You're going to grab both their shoulder straps, and yeah, hell yeah, you're going to pull them up, right? So you're going to pull them up, but then fall back into the boat with them. And they can grab onto the perimeter line and help. Hell yeah. And if you're a swimmer, friggin' A, man, you got to help. We'll get to that in a second. There's plenty you have to do as a swimmer. Okay, so if you do fall out, basically the name of the game is you need to get into this position. This is the defensive swim position where your feet are up out of the water. You're on your back. We really need you to orient yourself downstream. You can't just float out there, you know what I mean, like nothing, you know what I mean. So you got to be kind of facing downstream so you can see the waves, because that's what we're going to get into next. Breathing in the waves and troughs. Every wave is going to hit you in the face, and you're going to like choke on that wave, and that's not going to be fun at all. It's going to suck. So we need you to hold your breath, and every single wave is going to hit you in the face. And if there's a huge waves, you're going to go you're going to go underneath that wave for a couple seconds. And if it's a hole, there's some features where you might actually get under for up to 10 seconds of downtime. You know what I mean? You're going to be underwater for 10 seconds, so you really have to hold your breath there. But basically, take breaths where you're in the troughs of the wave, where you don't see one's going to smack you in the face. We need you to also potentially use this same position to at least maneuver yourself and then propel yourself. So you can use your arms to be like, hey, the boat's over there. I'm at least going to make an effort to do this to get over there to the boat. We need you to do that. And we might be pointing as a guide. This says guides will point positive. We need you to swim in the direction that we're pointing. You know what I mean? So we're going to be able to get your attention and be like, hey, swim back to this boat, swim to that boat. You know, sometimes you just have to swim. Like there's something nasty in the river that you're floating into. You'd be like, hey, you need to swim that way, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have a throw bag demo. Now, the only time we're going to use a rope to throw to you into the river is if the person with the rope is on shore. So if you're swimming, we will never use a rope from the boat, pretty much never. And so, but there are scenarios where, hell, if your boat gets stuck on rocks and you can't get unstuck and we can't get a boat to you, you might have to jump out into the current, but someone on shore will throw you that rope, and then you'll be pendulum to shore. So that'd be cool. So this is what you would do. You would grab the rope, and if the rope misses you, for the love of God, swim to the rope and grab it. Okay, put the rope over your shoulder and face kind of away from the direction of pull. And you got to hang on tight. This sucks, you know what I mean? And water might be coming over your head. You need to get into that defensive swim position. Try to maybe like even arch your back, keep your body plane, because there's going to be so much force and friction. But, you know what I mean, it's a tool that we use, and it's going to feel like you're being towed upstream, but you're not. The person with the throw bag that threw it to you is on shore. You're hanging onto the rope. You're going to be pendulum to shore. That's kind of our objective there. Hell yeah, that was the throw bag demo. Self-rescue awareness. We can't always get to you. Hey, let's say some of you are in the first boat, and your boat gets stuck, and then you fall out. Well, then what? You know what I mean? The second boat might be upstream quite a ways, and it might take them a while to get to you. So you always have to be aware of that. And hell yeah, if you're able to, well, in that scenario, you might have to swim to shore. You know, we might be pointing, hey, there's some calm water over there on the right. Swim that direction, and then we'll be able to catch up much faster. So just be aware of that. And hell yeah, all the same rules apply. You can conserve a lot of energy in this defensive swim position, and then still swim with your arms when you need to get, you know, from one side of the river to the other. Okay, it says avoid foot entrapment. We really don't want you to stand up at the river at all. Like it's the worst. Even your guides would never stand up in the river in moving water. They're not just going to be like, oh, I need to stop myself in moving current. Hell no. And so just for today, and you might not know the difference between moving current and non-moving current enough to be like, this is safe and this is, just from your perspective, it's never okay to stand up in the river you always want to be on your back in this defensive swim position or on your belly swimming just like normal, okay? And we also don't want you to just dangle your feet. If you fall out, we do not want you vertical. One, you're going to get your legs smashed by rocks, but the other is this foot entrapment. If you try to aggressively stand up and move in current, or even just have your feet vertical, your legs can get pinned in rocks. And we're not talking just your foot gets caught like the classic. Hell no. There's such big boulders in there that your legs will get slotted in between. It's kind of like a crevasse of boulders where it's just like there's no way you're going to be able to pop your leg out of that by the time the river pushes you forward. And these are the places where you can die, but they're very easily to avoid. Do not stand up in the river. The other thing, the other hazard, major hazard, is strainers. Or what a strainer is it's wood or debris that's caught in the river. If you're swimming and get pushed or flushed into trees and branches, you can get caught and then sometimes get caught underwater. So these are your traps, foot entrapment, and then trapped by wood. So we just really have to avoid these at all costs. So any wood in the river, you just need to swim away. That's the time where you're probably not going to be doing this. Hell no. Get onto your stomach. These are times where it's like, well, your life depends on it. This is aggressively self-rescue. There's nothing that we can do in that situation. We can see it, we can blow a whistle, we can point positive, but that's the time where you got to step up to the plate and be like, oh, hell no. 5 feet to the right, I'm not going to die, and then 5 feet to the left, hell yeah, you might be dead. Anyway. Alright, so we have the high side command. This is if a boat is about to flip. I mean, basically the physics of it is if a boat's flipping, it's going to flip kind of, the boat's lengthwise, it's going to flip like this. And us as weight in the boat, we can jump to the higher side that's about to flip and keep that from flipping. So that's pretty cool. Your guy will yell like high side left. And so if you're on the right side, you'll be jumping to the left. You'll physically get up out of your seat. You can't just lean. That's not going to do anything. You literally have to take your center of mass, usually your bum, you know what I mean, and actually get your butt into your neighbor's lap, and that's an effective high side. Now, you're never going to be able to do this very well at all unless you practice it, and so have your guide practice it on the river with you. Alright, hell yeah. So raft flips and recovery. Now here's the deal with raft flips. Remember how I said if your boat gets stuck, if you're the first boat and you get stuck and then you fall out. Like there's no boats below you. You know what I mean? So that same situation happens if you're the first boat and flips. There's nobody downstream. So definitely in a boat flips, like you just have multiple people that need to self-rescue. So then what? What do you do? Well, there's one scenario where your guide isn't with you no more. You know what I mean? It happens all the time where your boat flips and your guide's not holding on to it. You know what I mean? It was too violent for your guide to be hanging on. And then so yes, you can swim to the boat and grab on. And sometimes that keeps you at the surface. It helps you go through more rapids if that's what you have downstream. And if one boat gets to that boat, you can actually more effectively rescue those people. Now, the scenario hopefully happens that your guide does hold on to that boat, but still, it requires a pretty heroic effort for that guide to climb back onto the boat and then get a rope on it and flip it back over. So even if your guide is hanging onto the boat, there's a chance your guide might not be able to do that. That's just life. You know what I mean? Where we're looking for other boats to come in. So just be self-aware of this self-rescue process. I'm still going to swim to the boat. That might be a good idea. Grab on. But if you flip and there's other boats in the area that are closer, aggressively swim towards those boats. You know what I mean? Especially if you're an aggressive person that can swim, that just really helps us out. It's like, hey, be the hero, so other people, so we can get to them much faster. Anyway, and the other thing with a flip, if a boat does flip, there might be a couple people underneath the boat. You might be one of them, and it totally sucks. You might come up and you might hit like the bottom of the boat, and you got nothing to breathe. You know what I mean? So you really need to be able to hold your breath for at least 10 seconds, but mainly get your hands above your head and work yourself to the side of that raft. And you might pop up into one of the air pockets underneath the boat. Just don't stay there, you know what I mean? Maybe grab a breath, but sometimes that's going to not be there, you know, in another second. But if you can grab a breath, cool, but then really work your way out from underneath the boat. All right, hell yeah. So that's flips, you know what I mean? And then we just regroup and get you know, that's what we signed up for. So these things do happen, you know what I mean? Holy Toledo, you might not expect it. That's why we're telling you right now. So if it does happen, we just get right back into the boat and continue down the river. All right, hell yeah. So it says high water conditions, swims, and self-rescue. We're just going to pretend, it's high water today. And what does that mean? It means that if you fall out, you really, everything's got to be, your self-rescue and swims just have to be just much better, just more focused. You know, if you fall out, can you get to the boat? You know, take a couple strokes, swim to it, you know what I mean? Yeah, especially if multiple people fall in. Because if you're able to self-rescue yourself, because then we might only have to go after one person. That kind of scenario. And high water, holy Toledo. You really don't want to be swimming multiple rapids. The water's cold, it's swift, you might, you know, kind of choke on water every wave that hits your face, and it's going to be a lot of waves that hit your face. And so there's that aspect that you really need to just stay focused, get into that position. You know what I mean? If there's no boats in front of you and there's no boats behind you, be thinking about doing this to shore. And if you see, you know, if you can make your move, hell yeah, be aggressive and just get the hell out of that river. So that's going to be the take-home point. High water, there's scenarios where, yeah, if you are on your own, we can't always get to you. You know what I mean? Getting yourself out of the river and staying there is going to be sometimes your best bet. All right, hell yeah. So never dive in head first. Medical considerations like bee stings and allergies, let your guide know. Any questions and concerns, you can feel free to ask us now or after the safety talk. Everyone still want to go. Cool. And I verify that the guide has discussed all the above items during the safety talk before our raft trip. Hell yeah. All right, how long was that? Okay, perfect. So that was, we only have, that's under 20 minutes. But, yeah, I just don't think I could do I can do it under 20 minutes. I know that. But there's no way, I'm always going to actually put some emphasis into some of these categories. So that was a pretty good one, though. We'll chalk that up for another 20-minute safety talk. And hell yeah, it's always good practice. And don't worry about going long if you're practicing your own safety talks. Like a couple years ago, I'd do 3-hour safety talks just to be like, whoa, here's the topic. You know what I mean? You'd do a little thesis in your head, you know what I mean, of like, hey, this is the ideas that I'd want to get out. And then I'm working on like, hey, how do you get those ideas out in a very short amount of time? All right, I don't want my camera to end on me. So hell yeah, thanks for joining me. And guess what? That's a video.